In today's video, I'm sharing about how to set new moon intentions. So first, I'll talk about the significance of the new moon when it comes to manifesting, and then I'll share some techniques and best practices and examples of new moon intentions. But first, if you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Adrianne DeCotes, and I'm a manifesting coach and intuitive guide. On this channel, we talk about how to get into the flow and manifest with ease. So if that sounds like something that's up your street, I invite you to click the subscribe button and hit the notifications bell so that you'll be the first to know when I publish new videos. Working with astrology cycles like the new moon and the full moon is something that I've really enjoyed using in my manifesting practice to make it more accurate and powerful. So I'm really excited to share this with you today. But first, I want to bust a myth that sometimes shows up when it comes to astrology. I want to say, first of all, that the planets are never doing anything to us. Astrology isn't something that influences us so much as it's something that's more like a clock or like a mirror, where it's just reflecting back to us what's happening energetically around us and within us. And so it's something that I've really found helpful to use in kind of validating what I'm already feeling and just tuning into more deeply the energetics of what's already happening in my life. So I hope that distinction makes sense, and I hope you can see how that makes it fit into more of the context of manifesting, for example, because it's not seeing the planets as impacting us so much as just being like a mirror for us. So let's talk a little bit about the symbolism of the new moon. So first of all, the moon itself, it is the fastest moving celestial body from our perspective here on Earth. And it's also the closest celestial body to us here on Earth. It moves through the zodiac, the entire zodiac, in a month, whereas it takes the sun about a year to move through the whole zodiac. And so within the span of a month's time, it's interacting with all the other planets, making aspects to them, and also to all of the planets in our birth chart as well. So the moon is kind of like this translator that is tapping into the energy of ourselves and the different parts of our lives via what is shown with the planets. And so in that way, it can be a great one to tune into because it's really like this messenger or this translator of all the energy that is happening within the span of a month. And so the new moon is when the moon is at the beginning of its new cycle of increasing in brightness. And so because of that, because the moon is in shadow and at the beginning of a new cycle, it symbolically can be linked to a time when we are also beginning a new cycle. And so what you can pay attention to around the time of the new moon is, what do you feel inspired to begin, or what is a new cycle that is potentially wanting to take place in your life? That's the way the mirror of astrology can reflect back to you what is likely happening for you as well at this time. So there are 3 different ways that you can tap into more specifically what the energy of the new beginning that's represented by the new moon could be about for you. The first one is to look at what astrological sign the new moon is happening within, because that will give the new beginning or the new project or the fresh start that you are initiating at this time a certain kind of a flavor. It's going to be a different new moon that's happening in the sign of Aries, for example, versus the sign of Pisces, and so on. So that's the first thing you can look at. And then the second thing to look at is what house within your astrology birth chart is the new moon taking place within. If you're unfamiliar with the houses, these are like the different areas of your life that are represented in the birth chart. And so you can notice, if you're aware of your houses, you can notice which area of your life the new moon is being shown to take place within, and that can help you pay more attention to see what your thoughts are around that topic or the different opportunities that are coming up at that time that could be related to this new moon energy. And then the third thing that you can look at to determine more clearly the energy of the new moon is you can see if it is happening near any of your planets in your birth chart, because that can indicate a new beginning within the energy of that planet and the areas of your life that it can be associated with. So for example, a couple of years ago, the new moon was on my birthday, and so it was on my sun because, you know, the birthday is around the time of your solar return, or, you know, when the sun is back to the same place as you were born. And so I had a new beginning associated with those sun solar kind of qualities in that area of my life. So most people know about the cycle of the new and full moon that takes place within the span of a month, where we have the new moon and then about 2 weeks later we have the full moon, which is kind of where the energy of the new moon has reached its peak because the moon is at its full brightness. But there's actually another cycle that you want to look at and pay attention to when it comes to the new moon and setting your new moon intentions, and that is the about 6-month cycle of the new moon and the full moon happening in the same astrology sign. So for example, we are about to have a new moon, or a full moon rather, in Aquarius as I am filming this video. And so I would look back 6 months ago to the new moon that happened in Aquarius and connect the dots and see what were some of the new beginnings that were initiated around that time 6 months ago, and how those may be culminating or manifesting at this upcoming full moon. And in the same way, if you look at the energy of the new moon that you're wanting to set your intentions around, you can not only look at your intentions that you want to set for the near term of the next lunar month, you can also look at the 6-month time frame of what do you want to be culminating and manifesting over the course of the next 6 months until the time of the full moon in the corresponding astrology sign. Now let's get into some techniques, examples, and best practices for setting new moon intentions. The first thing that I want to say about this is that setting intentions is not just about writing them down in your journal, which I think is what most of us assume or think about when we think about setting intentions, but it's also what's on your mind at the time of the new moon and what you make a decision about, what you say yes to, what you take action upon, a new project that you start. That's also something that you want to be aware of and notice and consider as also setting an intention. Because sometimes, I don't know about you, but I've had times in the past where I've written out an intention, but I wasn't fully putting my energy into it through action or through initiating in some way. And I think that intention setting is most powerful when you do follow through your journaling out intentions with some kind of an action or some kind of a decision or saying yes to a new opportunity that really denotes that you have fully invested yourself in this new thing that you want to create. And so I think that that can even be more powerful than writing down the intention. And so that's definitely something to consider when it comes to setting a new moon intention. So now that we're clear on the fact that intention setting isn't just journaling, isn't just writing it down, it's also what you want to take action on at that time and what you make a decision about, let's go ahead and cover some best practices for writing out your intentions, because of course that is a powerful way to focus your energy and clarify for yourself what you do want to create. And so with that in mind, I want to share 5 best practices for setting your new moon intentions. And the first one is to state your intention in the positive. So focus on what you want instead of letting sneak into your intention what you don't want. So a simple example, say that your intention was in the area of health, you wanted to make some dietary improvements, and you wanted to eliminate sugar from your diet. Instead of saying something like, I intend to stop eating sugar, I would say instead what you intend to be eating instead. I would focus on that. So maybe it would be something like, I intend to exclusively eat food that nourishes, supports my body in being its optimal health, and makes me feel really good every day. Something like that, where you're really focused on what you do want instead of the thing that you're trying to move away from or release. And then best practice number 2 is that before you are going to actually write out your intentions, focus on it as if it has already happened and write about it from that place. And so imagine that what you want has been realized already, that it is manifested, and let your words be inspired from that energy. That will make it even more powerful and clear and aligned with what you're wanting. And then best practice number 3, once you are really in that energy and that feeling of what you want to manifest, let your words be specifically inspired from that place, from that state of mind. So basically bring your intention into the present tense instead of projecting it out into the future. Instead of saying something like, I want to manifest a new car, say instead, I have a new car, or whatever it is that you're wanting to manifest. And then best practice number 4 is make sure that your intention is focused on your experience and is personal to you, because we really only have the power to create within our own experience, because we can only vibrate and manifest for ourselves. And so just as a double check, make sure that if you are wanting to set intentions in a relationship, for example, that you're focused on your experience of the relationship instead of trying to create the other person's experience. And then finally, best practice number 5 is to set your new moon intentions according to whichever timeline that we covered earlier feels best to you. And so we talked about the shorter time frame of from new moon to the following new moon, or even the shorter timeline of the new moon to the full moon, which is about 2 weeks, and then also the 6-month timeline, the longer term intention, which would be a 6-month time frame. So just deciding where your intention fits in, and you can always do both if you'd like. If you have a longer term intention that you want to set, you could also look at what would you like to see manifest within that area over the next month or over the next 2 weeks. So pay attention to those lunar timelines, can be helpful as you're setting your new moon intentions. So let me quickly share a couple of examples of new moon intentions that I have set. And first of all, I want to share one that was more like a pattern that I noticed over time as I've been discussing the new moon intentions are something that you will find yourself naturally, automatically already doing, even if you don't know about new moon intentions, because it's the new moon is a natural signifier of this process that's happening already for ourselves. And so my example of that is that I noticed a pattern where a lot of times I would be doing new things in my business or in my career around in the month of July, or like around the time of Cancer season in astrology. And this was before I had even studied astrology. I kind of noticed this pattern. Like, I launched my very first website on the 4th of July, and I started a new job in architecture. It was like mid-July or something. And later, when I learned about astrology, I saw that Cancer season and the energy of Cancer is what I have in the 10th house of my astrology chart, which is the house that's associated with career. And so I was naturally making these new beginnings and having these fresh starts around that time of the year. That was something really helpful to notice, and then to be able to more consciously participate in that. The past few years, as I've noticed around Cancer season, what new things may come up as like new opportunities for me within career, I know that they're aligned with the energy of the new moon, and that it's very appropriate for me to say yes to these and for me to really head in new directions at that time of year. So it's really something that you can notice for yourself over time as you follow these lunar cycles, and you can probably link it with something that you may already notice with your own sense of timing. Like I talked about for myself, during the summer is kind of like my career time in astrology, and a pattern that I've noticed for myself of making moves, making new beginnings at that time. For me, in the fall during Scorpio season, that is the second house in my astrology chart. The second house is related to income and money manifesting. And a lot of times in Scorpio season, I have either been inspired to like really work on my money mindset and kind of have a new beginning within my relationship with money kind of internally in kind of a really Scorpio type of a way, where I want to really look into the issue and focus on it and kind of really penetrate into the depths of what's going on in my psychology with money. That's pretty Scorpio energy. Or also it's been in that month of November or like around Scorpio season that I've had income breakthroughs or like manifested bigger financial things in my business or something like that. And so really it's cool once you understand about the cycles of the new moon, and you can kind of look back and see what your personal kind of calendar looks like as far as how the energy of those new moon and those astrology signs and those house areas of your life can correspond to your own natural patterns of starting new things and culminating new things. And so that's really one of the cool parts about this topic, I think. So those are my techniques and best practices and examples and insights around setting new moon intentions. I hope you found that helpful. And if you would like even more tips and insights and manifesting mojo for creating what you want with greater ease, flow, and fun, then definitely I invite you to check out my totally free guide to the 7 habits of highly magical people. I will put a link to that in the description down below, so you can check that out if you're interested. And be sure to check out this next video all about the signs that manifestation is on its way, so that after you set your new moon intentions, you'll be able to tell how things are going with that. And I'll also put a link to that in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time, happy manifesting.